Hey guys, welcome to a classic TFL Buddy review. And if you've been watching our YouTube channel, you know that in this review we're going to take this car, the Ioniq 5, that's all electric, and we're going to take it for a ride, see how quick it is from 0 to 60, see what kind of a ride it has. But before we do any of that, I need a buddy.
Yeah, that's right. So this is a very cool new EV. So this is probably one of my favorite cars on sale today, and I'm hoping to show you why through this kind of fun format, one take style, and talk about what makes this thing so special. So this is the latest and the greatest of Hyundai 800 volt full electric eGMP architecture. And first of all, what do you think of the design?
You know, I like it because it's got a theme that's very simple to understand, and that is, of course, the pixel. You will see pixels in the headlight, not just a pixel as a headlight, but pixels in the headlight. And the cool thing that Hyundai does is, unlike many other manufacturers, they don't do the nesting dolls, you know, the Matushka dolls, where it's like an Audi, where an Audi A3 looks like an Audi A5, which looks like an Audi A7, right? Basically what they're saying is it's like a chessboard. The bottom of the chess piece is a Hyundai, but the top is very different. So this looks very different from the upcoming Ioniq 6.
Now what's cool about this car is that in pictures, in this video, it's probably going to look pretty small, like a 1980s Lancia Delta Integrale or like a old, Mark I GTI. But in person, it's actually really big. This is a longer wheelbase and like a Range Rover Sport, but they used a classic technique where you push the wheels all the way out to the corners. Visually it makes the car look a lot smaller, and then it gives a huge amount of interior room. Now, the eGMP platform is a very flexible architecture. Lots of different variants, as my dad said, can be built on this model. This one, as you see it, is pretty much fully loaded. It's got all sorts of goodies and bells and whistles, including these 20-inch wheels. Do you like this wheel design?
I do, yeah. They're pretty modern and yet pretty classically black. Every wheel now has to be black, Tommy. Have you noticed that?
So along the side, we got these streaks, which kind of give it this really cool side profile. The door handles pop out and kind of release themselves to the world. It's one thing I'm not a huge fan of. I just wish it had a more traditional door handle design. But the idea being that when you fold them in, when you're driving along, they're super aerodynamic. Now along back, we do have a small spoiler, and that squared off pixel motif continues in the rear with these tail lights. The tail light is actually this outline design, and then the brake lights are the inside, and you got this continuous light tube which makes its way along the rear of the vehicle. And then once again, we got louvers in the back, very 1980s, a very cool design.
Hey, why don't you pop the back?
Yeah, for sure.
Now the thing that of course this competes with the most is the Tesla Model Y. So it is a crossover, it is all-wheel drive all the time, and it is ginormous, Tommy, both on the inside and back here.
60/40 split, got some additional storage underneath the floor. You got the little view blocker, which is easy to use. Very, 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 very good trunk space, so lots of room in here. Easily one of the best trunks in class, easy to fit stuff in.
Now it does immediately have one thing that a Tesla does not have, and that is a dongle, which we don't have with this model, but you can buy it with a dongle that you plug into the charge port, and then that allows you to have not one, but two outlets that you can plug things into, like, let's say, a refrigerator if there were a power outage.
Yeah, and you got little CCS, USB, CCS charging there. This vehicle is capable of over 200 kilowatts of peak charge rate. They say like a 10 to 80% charge in this is 18 minutes. And I've tried it on the sister car, the EV6 to this, and it pretty much was right on the mark. So you can get a huge amount of energy into the battery pack in a very small amount of time.
And that's mainly because it's built like a Porsche Taycan on an 800 volt architecture, which allows you to charge very quickly. I mean, in some ways, this takes it to the next level from a Tesla Model Y, not just in terms of design, but in terms of space and functionality, and dare I say a price, because how much is this guy?
Well, $56,000 as you see it, but basically every single option on this model. This has the all-wheel drive setup, so 320 horsepower. You can also get it in rear-wheel drive only. The rear-wheel drive big battery is going to be the Range King at 303 miles. This one is going to be like mid-200s, isn't it right? Like mid-200s?
Yes, about 250. But Tommy, does it have a frunk?
Sort of.
Let's find out.
You want to pop it open?
Yeah, pop it open and let's show them what's in the front.
It's got a, well, you got to do it over there. It's got a front cubby.
You got the clicker.
No, you got to pull it manually.
Really? It doesn't click open?
Nope.
I'll be darned. All right, let's pop it open there.
So it's got a front cubby.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
So a frubby, if you will. So underneath here, pop that open. You can see the little charge dongle there. And that's pretty much it, because this is really kind of like an afterthought you can see like you got your place for your coolant and your
And your 12 volt right there,
your 12 volt,
which is nice to have access to it.
but it's not as useful as like the front end of a Model Y. It's obviously quite small, but it's still there, good for holding
A lunch.
EVSE. Should we show the inside?
Before we do that, why don't you show them the party trick?
Yeah.
See if you can get it to back out or back into a parking space. Imagine it was in a parking space. Show them what it can do.
So this car has Smart Park, and first thing you got to do is lock the car and then get the remote start going, so you could like precondition the cabin for your cold winter days. And then once it's running, you should be able to push a button, and then if it was in a really tight spot, you could pull it forward with nobody in the car, push the button. Come on.
It seems to be blinking at us for some reason.
It's not doing what it needs to do.
Are we pushing the right button, Tommy?
Yep.
Does it have to be in a parking space? Maybe it has to be in a space.
It shouldn't have to be in a space.
I bet you it has to be in a space.
No, because I've done it in a parking lot. Just
Without a space?
yeah.
Well, she is not moving, Tommy.
No, she's not really happy.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So there was a sequence of, let me put it in a parking space. Maybe if it's in a space.
Well, it should, because you should be able to just walk it. I've done it in the past.
Here, let me
Car's
try.
running. Here it goes.
There it goes. Okay, now you got her.
Oh, you have to be close to the car, I think.
Ah,
you
that
have
would
to
do
be
it.
a certain number of feet
Can you
away.
walk it forward?
Should be able to. There you go.
There you go.
So that's kind of the cool feature. If you're in a really tight squeeze, you can bring it in and out.
Yeah, imagine if there were cars next to it and you couldn't open the doors and you had to get your grandma or your mom in. You could just pull it out and then open the doors and voila, there you go.
All right,
Easy
well,
peasy, lemon squeezy.
Cole, you want to hop in the back seat? We'll show them the inside.
Yeah, the inside is ginormous. But before we do that, Cole, let me show you one more thing, which is pretty cool. And that is right there. This is actually a footrest that pulls, I think it's which one of these is it? It's this one. That pulls out like that.
Yep.
This will take a long time, but the idea is while you're charging, you can actually lay the seat flat and then take a nap. How about them apples, Tommy?
Have a little bit of a nap.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
All right, come on in. Let's go for a little ride.
So on the inside, the pixel motive continues. One of the interesting things is, do you see those little dots on the steering wheel?
Yes, the four dots.
You know what the 4 dots mean?
What do they mean, Tommy?
That 4 dots
Yeah.
is actually H in Morse code.
For Hyundai.
Yeah, H for Hyundai in Morse code, which is very cool.
Now, in the Ioniq 6, these dots actually light up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they tell you, I think it's the status of the battery, if I remember right. They do different things based on different menus.
So let's pull out the sticker here. We can talk about the Monroney. So this is the 2022 Ioniq 5 Limited. There you can see the range, 256 miles according to the EPA, 98 mpg equivalent. Is a combined city highway, 55,940, and this is just about every bell and whistle. So it's got all the assistance technology, forward collision, cross traffic alert, driver attention warning.
I got a heads up.
Yeah, it's got the dual motor setup like we talked about, 320 horsepower, H-track all-wheel drive,
Giant sunroof.
77.4 kilowatt hour battery. It's got the ultra fast charging, which we mentioned. You got the dual 12-inch screens, which look really, really good.
By the way, I love the way the sunroof opens. It splits in the middle and pulls apart versus, pulling back like a shade.
Sure thing, yeah. And then, of course, we talked about vehicle to load, right? It's got the power outlet underneath the seat, and then
Yep.
you can do the little dongle. But yeah, this thing's really well equipped. Very minimalist. This big center console, if you don't like the position of it, you can actually move it forward and backward. You want to put up our 0 to 60 timer there?
Yep, we're about to go for a ride and see how quick it is from 0 to 60.
And then the 2-spoke steering wheel is really neat. We've got different drive modes on the steering wheel, which you can change like that. We'll put it into sport mode.
Yep.
And the shifter.
Is this giant knob that you rotate this way. If you want to put in park, you just hit the P right there.
What I like about this minimalist design, though, is it's not like a Tesla where everything is completely in the screen. You still have some hard buttons. Like, you still have a volume knob and a tune toggle, which is just fantastic. You got a shortcut for your camera system, 360-degree camera system with the exterior camera. Very, very cool. And then we also have, like, front-facing cameras. So there are some hard shortcuts here. For example, if we wanted to go to the map, the media screen, you can just touch buttons like that and get it all super easy and quick.
Is this thing, it's not finding a satellite?
Is it stuck?
There we go. Is that right? Did it find the satellite or not?
I don't believe it did, actually.
It's not accelerating.
Nope. The issue with some of these new cars is that these devices are all, they have to read up with the satellite, and sometimes all this new tech kind of screw with the system a little bit.
Too much tech in our lives, Tommy. The problem is you're also blocking the young lady there who, well, we can take it down once
We
we do
can
it.
take it down, yeah.
Yeah.
So a couple other things too. USB-A ports, lots of USB-A ports, and you'll see them down here in the middle. There's your Qi wireless charger. That's one of my complaints. It's kind of out of the way. Very, very tucked in there. And then we got another USB up front with a 12 volt, 180 watt system. Got a little bit of storage down there. And then if you have a purse, if you have, you know, bags of stuff, you can put those nicely in the middle there.
If we had a magnet right there, this is magnetic.
Yeah, you could prop your phone up there.
You could prop your phone. Well, I don't know if a phone and a magnet go together, but you could put little notes, little sticky notes, such as, hey, I need to get a haircut today. By the way, Tommy, do you know I need to get a haircut today?
I did notice.
Yes, so I'm going to get that. I do like the steering wheel. It's nice and fat, and everything is very elegant. You know, our neighbor just bought one of these, and the only complaint that our neighbor had was he hates this kind of old school radio.
The tube.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's cool. And when you change it, I don't know why he hates it, because when you adjust it, the actual like tube dials work. There you go.
All right, we're good to go. Now, like I said, this competes with all of the new electric crossovers, the Tesla Model Y kind of being the most prominent one, but there's a lot more that it competes with, including its sister or brother car, the EV6 by Kia.
That one's a little kind of slower and a little squatter. So that's certainly a big competitor. Volkswagen ID4 is a big player in this segment, right?
Yes, of course.
Ford Mustang Mach-E as well. So it's very, very competitive, but I think this car stands out, especially in its design. It's really good.
Now, we drove this, we picked this up in California, and we drove it all the way back to Colorado, and there are some things that I'm not a huge fan of. It's not all, you know, lollipops and fizzy pop. One of the things I don't like is I like one pedal driving, and you always have to use the auto shifters, the little paddle shifters, to put it into one pedal. So these basically change the amount of regen you have, but it defaults to level 3 instead of one pedal driving. So it gets really annoying because I love one pedal.
Yeah, the good news is it's very adjustable. So as you mentioned, the paddles will actually go from no regen off accelerator.
Yeah, right there.
To max regen and iPedal.
So I can go to, but it defaults to where, like I said, if I turn the car off and on, it would be at level 3, not at iPedal.
And iPedal is going to be the strongest regen.
Now the biggest difference, I think, between this, besides the style, and the EV6 is this A-pillar and the amount of kind of visibility you have. For some reason, the A-pillar on the EV6 is much more raked back, so when I'm sitting in the car and I've got the seat as far down as possible, and granted, I've got a tall torso, I'm looking into the top of the A-pillar when I'm in the EV6.
Well,
here,
you're looking into the cowl.
Yeah, here I have a very good, clear line of sight.
All right, I think that's a very fair point you've made, and it's a lot more airy in this car than the EV6 as well.
I do like the fact that you've got cameras on both sides when you're making a turn signal.
So let's focus on the 0 to 60 here. So we're going to stop at the entrance to this highway.
And merge on and see how quick it is.
All right, you want to stop here?
Yeah, I will do. There's nobody behind us, so it's nice and safe. Let me just pull up to this. Have the solar deal reset itself.
Okay.
Okay.
And go for it.
Here we go. Forward.
Yeah, your hula girl went shooting off the dash.
Yeah, you said that would happen.
I did.
And there's 60.
So that was 5.28 seconds. Pretty good.
That's pretty darn good, yeah.
Now, I think you could probably get it a little bit quicker. This is a pretty poor surface in terms of the quality.
There's 3 people in here,
and there's 3 people in here. But the acceleration is immediate and very impressive in this car. Now, if it's a little too immediate and too impressive, the solution is just to go into eco mode, and it will turn the vehicle essentially into an all-wheel drive car. So do you want to push the drive mode button there on the steering wheel?
Yep.
Okay, go into eco and now try accelerating.
Oh, it's no good. That's no good, Tommy.
Well,
I don't like
it's
that.
smoother.
Let's go back to sport. Oh, yeah, that's much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, can you find the hula girl? We'll need her when we get on the rough part of the road.
Yep, for sure.
Now, I was just in Korea. That sounds like such a weird thing to say, but it's true. And you know that there is a N version of this coming.
Right.
So this is not the hot version. There will be N version, which will be kind of like the Veloster N or the Kona N, and I can't wait to see how quick that is. I bet you that'll be in the 3-second range.
So, other things about this car, I like the ride quality of this a lot more than the Model Y. It's far smoother, it's far more compliant, and it's just a much better thing around town. The Model Y is a very jittery ride. The Mach-E is a pretty good ride, but I think that this is the softest of kind of the bunch. It really soaks up bumps well. It's kind of the least sporty of the bunch too. Like, it's not something you'd want to go throw around a canyon, but it's great for daily driving. Don't we need to do our snarfs test?
Yeah, I was about to do that after this.
You want to do it, or you want me to do it?
Please say a command.
Navigate to Snarf's Sandwiches. There you go. It's processing.
7. Results found. Please say the line number.
There you go. Got it. Number 1.
You will be guided to the first destination on the list.
Fantastic. So that worked beautifully. And this is a fantastic system. Of course, it's got CarPlay if you just want to use CarPlay, but really easy to use and just overall great.
Yeah, now we got to cancel that or she'll be bugging us.
Well, it's avoiding ferries, HOV, and carpool lanes.
Okay. Is there a way to cancel
I
it?
think you're good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think we're all set.
All right.
So yeah, worked great.
Now, we're on a rough road here, and the Hula Girl is not dancing very much. I'm trying to hit holes on purpose. Here's another hole. Here's another hole. It's very smooth, Tommy. I would say in her dancing abilities, that is maybe a 1 or a 2, with 1 being no dancing, here's some potholes, to 10 being I'm dancing so much that I'm burning 500 calories an hour.
Certainly 2, I think, is a good representation of how much she's moving.
Yeah, the ride is darn smooth, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, beautifully smooth.
Yeah.
So another cool thing I want to talk about with this car is it's got adaptive cruise control, it's got lane centering, and it now has smart lane centering too, so it kind of monitors the traffic around you, and if it sees like, you know, a truck next to you is getting a little close to your lane, it'll move into the left or the right side of the lane, so it's constantly monitoring the situation, and it's a very good lane centering system, I think one of the best in the industry.
You know, they threw the kitchen sink at this in terms of all the technology. The only downside, Tommy, well, there's more than one, but the biggest downside is dealers are marking these up way beyond MSRP. And so while this vehicle says it's $55,000, realistically in the real world it's maybe 5 to 10K more, and that's just sad.
I think if you do a little bit of soul searching and a little bit of Auto Trader searching, though, you can find them for an MSRP. I have heard of people doing that. It's not unheard of.
You know, one of the things that people always say is if you want the best deal, be prepared to not only travel, but travel out of state, right? But for some people, that's very hard to do, you know, because then you got to get a plane ticket. It's not an easy thing to all of a sudden fly across the country and road trip back.
But if we're talking about a savings of 5 or 10,000, I mean, that you could buy a lot of. It would be worth trying to get the time off work for a day or 2 to make that happen.
That'll buy a lot of charging, won't it?
Other thing I don't like about the car
Yep.
is, so we got this kind of haptic climate control panel, which is not my favorite, but it's also not the least intuitive. What I don't like, though, is there's no button to activate the heated and the cooled seats. You actually have to go into this button that says warmer, and then you can go into the screen to turn on the heated and the cooled seats. I prefer just to have that little hard control pre-mounted on the dash.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think heated steering wheel, heated and vented seats, right? I think these are vented. They're probably not cooled.
Yeah, they're ventilated, yeah.
Yeah, so the difference between vented and cooled is vented just means they blow air up your you-know-what, whereas cooled or chilled means that they actually run the air conditioner and blow chilled air up your you-know-what.
Now, something I do like, and I want to point this out on the warranty, I don't know if we can see it here on the sticker, Cole, but this does have the 10-year powertrain warranty and the 10-year battery warranty as well.
Where's it made, Tommy?
It is made in Korea, isn't it?
I believe you're right. I think
Yep.
it should say that.
Ulsan, Korea.
And what's the official MPGE numbers?
98. So this is 5-year new vehicle warranty, 10-year powertrain warranty, 10-year electric vehicle system warranty. So probably some of the best in the industry. And that 10-year, by the way, is 100,000 miles.
You know what people are really afraid of? They're afraid of their electric car being like their phone, where after a year, basically you have like, you know, a day of phone battery left. And after a year and a half, you have like 10 hours of phone battery left. But they found with especially Tesla, the early Teslas, they've only lost like 10% of the battery over a period of 10 years, which is pretty amazing when you think about it.
And the good thing too is if you're the original owner of this car, you're planning on keeping it a long time, right? That is something that would be covered under that 10-year, 100,000 mile warranty. So you can drive this car for a long time. I think you're right. I think that issue is blown way out of proportion. But even if you are concerned about it, you do have that 100,000 mile powertrain warranty.
Now, the reason we have this car is actually something really fun. We wanted to drive it across country, and we didn't want to do the usual cannonball run because, well, it's illegal. So me and Nathan are going to take this bad boy across from D to D. You know what the D stands for?
Disney to Disney.
Yep, that's right. We're going to go from California Disney to Florida Disney, from Disneyland to Disney World. We're going to have fun with that to see how it does as a road trip car, and I'm super excited just because it's got such incredibly fast charging.
Yeah, it is. And Cole, the videographer behind us, was on the road trip from San Diego, and he said it was like a breeze from a charging standpoint. When the chargers work, it's incredible. So we'll hopefully have pretty good luck there. We also have Blue Link in this car, right? So you've got the connected services via the phone app. which is not quite as good as a Tesla system. The Hyundai Digital Key isn't quite as intuitive as a Tesla system, but it is there.
So in case you guys are curious as to what's happening at TFL, we've got our TFL bid site up and running right now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We got a pretty cool Mercedes up there, so the auction's ending today, and then we're selling our classic FJ
40
from 1976 next. So check out tflbids.com, and don't forget to check out alltfl.com for everything TFL, including all of our stories, our videos, our TikToks. So Tommy, we're going to get out and we're going to rate it in the classic buy it, lease it, rent it, or forget it manner. So think about that as I pull into the parking space here.
One other thing I want to talk about, this 155, so it's pretty expensive, but they start at just under $40,000 before destination. So you can get these cars more affordably as well.
All right, well, let's give our rating. Let's hop outside and call this a done buddy review, huh?
Absolutely. So what are you going to rate it? I've got the key here.
Oh, you got the key. I
Yeah.
was worried. I didn't want to leave the key in the car. Oh, this is a no-brainer, Tommy. This is, on the CFL scale of buy it, it's a buy it.
Yep, I agree completely. Probably my favorite new car on the market, period. EV, gas, whatever. It's so good. Definitely consider buying one. If you can find one for sticker, I'd pick it up in a heartbeat.
And I was, like I said, in Korea, so I think I would probably go for the EV6, which is coming. I hate doing that, because it's like buy the one that's available.
EV6 or Ioniq 6?
I'm sorry, the Ioniq 6. I think I'd go for the Ioniq 6 just because it's a little bit sportier. It looks like got a little bit of a Porsche Taycan feel to it. It's based on the same platform. Not as much room, but certainly sportier and certainly a little bit more of fizz in the Sodi.
I like this more because it's more practical. But let us know what you think in the comments below. We'll see you in the next EV video.
Ciao.